It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxis. Oh no, it's not the Quarantini Happy Hour, it's Taxi TV Live. Woohoo! Yeah, baby. This week we're gonna do forwards and returns where you are in the A&R hot seat. Yeah, baby. Why do I have to say baby all the time? And thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. Hello, everybody. Let's say a quick hello to the folks in the chat room. Then we're going to get right down to business here because we've got a lot of ground to cover. Hello, Carrie, Gary, Bob, Jesse, Ulysses, John, Marion, Dave, Ilraso, Dean, Daryl, Michael, Alex, Dylan, Darren Moss, Andre Stepanian, Marion, Chris Brewer, Carl, Sherry, Marcus Milano, Susan Hillman, Music, David Aquino, Pete Mason, Glenn Letts, Ewart Williams. All right. So, sorry I was a little late there. I actually had put an English muffin in the toaster oven before and forgot about it. And all of a sudden I looked over and saw smoke coming out of the toaster oven. And could I just leave that burnt, crispy English muffin sitting there? No, I had to cram that sucker in my face as fast as I could. And now I'm going to wash it down with some of this Red Bull Red Edition. Okay, so this should be an interesting episode. We haven't done one of these in a while. This is Liz's first spin at this, so she's going to be all panic stricken. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to total up forwards and returns. So here's the deal. I'm going to read the listing that this music was submitted to. Then you guys, not until it's done playing, do you cast your vote. And you cast your vote by typing in a +1 if you would forward it, and a -1 if you would return it. Okay, +1 for a forward, -1 for a return. Do it as quickly as you can when the music stops playing, but don't do it beforehand because we don't want you to influence the other voters, okay? Excuse me, there's that Red Bull burp. Excuse me, now the toaster oven's over there going clink, clink, it's cooling down. So first thing I'm going to do is read the listing. Hopefully some or many of you submitted for this listing, and maybe your music will get played today. By the way, I'm not going to mention the names of the creators of the music. And the reason being is that, you know, if we hear something that's not quite up to par, we don't want anybody to be embarrassed about it. I will read off the song titles, or these are instrumentals. So we'll read off the titles. Also, if you're going to offer commentary, yes, only vote once. This isn't a presidential election. If you're going to make a comment, be constructive, be kind. Don't, it's like, oh man, that's the worst instrumental cue I've ever heard. Sometimes we get people who visit the show that aren't regulars and they don't know the etiquette and they assume that our little community of misfits here is kind of like the communities that you would find in other places on the internet where people, sometimes act up a little bit and are a little bit more troll-like. So no trolling here. All right, so the listing number is taxi number S200823PC, which in my case never stands for politically correct. I'm guessing that stands for percussion. And the listing reads as follows. Percussion-based instrumentals and/or instrumental cues are needed by a successful publisher with an awesome track record of really big placements in TV commercials. The publisher is looking for mid to up-tempo instrumentals and/or cues in the general stylistic wheelhouse of the following references. Sadly, if I play the references, we'll get dinged by YouTube for some copyright stuff, so I can't play them for you. Let's see, but it was for an AT&T commercial, Kanye West instrumental, which I'm sure was just a mix-minus vocal of his song Black Skinhead, and a McDonald's commercial. Please submit driving, primarily percussive instrumentals and or cues that could work well in the context of a national ad campaign. Your submissions can include everything, but not limited to stomps, claps, slaps, snaps, taps, and bangs, etc. You can include some additional instrumentation, but the majority of your instrumental should be percussion-based. Taxi tip, per the client. Please try to not rely solely on loops. That's a pretty popular request from our clients. Nobody likes stuff that's just like a lot of loopy stuff in there. Get creative with your programming and feel free to push the boundaries, but please avoid anything that's so complex that it will distract viewers from what's on the screen. Our experience tells us that simpler is better, which is almost always the case for TV and film music. Simpler just works better. The ads that feature this type of music aren't looking for the most genius composers so much as pieces of music that evoke excitement and emotion. All submissions should be about 90 seconds to 3 minutes long, give or take. Non-faded button stinger endings will work best. Do not copy the references in any way, shape, or form. Use them only as a general guide for the overall feel, texture, and tone. Broadcast quality is needed. This company offers, well, I'll read a little bit of the boilerplate here. This company offers an exclusive 50-50 deal with a 2-year reversion clause. If they do not acquire at least $1,000 in sync revenue from your tracks within the term, you can get your rights back. Pretty sweet. Any sync licensing fees are split 50-50. You'll get 100% of the writer's share. The publisher will get 100% of the publisher's share. Okay, so that's that. Don't need what's on the second page. That is superfluous. Let me get my ears on. Marion says she's tired lately, so she's not getting all the jokes. You mean my jokes, Marion? Because generally they're not that funny anyway, so whether you're tired or not, they probably won't make you laugh. All right. So hopefully this all goes well. I also want to mention before we get going here, I am playing this through the Rodecaster. I have not taken the time, honestly, to figure out the problem with, it's got some sort, it's not really a feedback loop, but there's a little latency thing, really short delay, which sounds like a little bit of a tunnel, a little bit of comb filtering. So, please refrain from commenting in the chat room, hey, it sounds like, there's a comb filtering going on or a little bit of a delay. It's something inherent with the USB out and the other stuff going back this way. And frankly, I'm going to have the tech crew that's going to be here while we're doing the road rally, which is coming up in less than 60 days on November 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I got to say, I spent a big chunk of time this weekend working on the road rally schedule and laying out all the tech stuff for the tech company to know. So it's moving along, finally getting that stuff straightened out. So yeah, if you think it's a forward, type in +1, but not until after the music stops, because you don't want to be an influencer in this case, and a -1 if you think that it shouldn't be forward, if it was a return. Katie Dwyer says OBS, brah. Well, I'm currently using Wirecast, and it's not the problem is not with Wirecast. It's the Rodecaster, which is an awesome piece of gear. It's just I'm not going to take time to explain it. Bottom line is we will have that all sussed out and fixed for the road rally. All right, so once again, I'm going to quickly reread just like this first thing here. Please submit driving primarily percussive instrumentals and or cues that could work well in the context of a national ad campaign. Your submissions can include everything, but not limited to stomps, claps, slaps, snaps, taps, and bangs. Apparently, you have to have the letter A in there. You can include some additional instrumentation, but the majority of your instrumental should be percussion-based. Okay. So with that, let me get these pulled up on my phone. There they are. All right, here we go. This first one is called Crack-a-Lackin'. Let me know how the level is for you guys. All right, whoa, stop. That's not supposed to be happening. Okay, that second one was Fat Fingers. It's hard to play these guys on my phone, and I am too thrifty to go buy myself an iPad. Okay, so would you... Oh, you're voting already. Look at you guys. So Liz is totaling quickly here. I bet you guys... I'm really curious. I actually listened to some of these before the show today, and I was chuckling to myself going, oh no, they're going to think this one's a return when it was a forward, or forward when it was a return. And I'm going to see. I do have some comments about what the screeners thought, why some of them were returned. Very good, but something missing. Yeah, it'd be cool if the screener said that. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Where's my pen? Darren Moss, I had to take a work phone call. What are we doing today? We're listening to percussion cues that were forwarded and returned for an instrumental listing, and you guys are voting +1 for a forward, -1 if you would return it. Liz will total them up, and we will see if you guys agree with the taxi A&R person. Songs from a Headband just renewed his membership for another 2 years. Yay! Welcome back, or welcome staying on board. That's okay, Darren. Yeah, it looks like they're done voting, so lay those numbers on us. Yeah, anybody that's coming in late now, oh well. You know, it doesn't have to be an exact science if we're off by 1 or 2 votes, unless it's like you know, really close call. Probably doesn't matter. Gloria Covington making a rare guest appearance today. Hello, Gloria. Bob Goosh renewed his membership too. Well, great. Okay, so I'm going to write this down. We had 36 who would forward and 8 who would not. Guess what? The 8 of you who said you would not forward it were the ones who were correct. That was not forwarded. Now, not a bad cue. And this is interesting because typically we get a lot of really good percussion cues, but you've got to think about the whole thing. So, a couple of you I saw picked up on one of the problems. Somebody said it felt like half a cue, and somebody else said felt kind of short. I don't. Yeah. Where is that? There it is. Okay. So the screener said, I really like the sounds and the grooves on here. This has a nice groove and a pulse. Good job. But it didn't get forwarded. And the screener's comment under what you could improve about this is, honestly, I think you're onto something here, and this could have worked if it were twice as long. What you have here is a good first half, but add another 45 seconds that build and extend onto what's here, and you might have a forward next time. It also mentioned it didn't meet the minimum duration, which was 90 seconds-ish to 3 minutes long. So remember, one of the most important things about instrumental cues is they have to develop and have some forward momentum, not just be kind of the same thing over and over and over again for X number of seconds, then boom, we're done. So there you go. Those of you who said you would not forward that, I believe there were 8 of you. You guys are A&R geniuses. Good job on that. All right. Let me see if I can pull up another one here without fat fingering it. All right. This one is called, what's the screener's number? I don't have that, but I can tell you, if I find the right piece of paper, that there were 234 submissions, and of those, 19 were forwarded. Okay, so that means that 215 out of 234 were actually returned, 19 were forwarded. And remember, this was going to a company that's pitching these for TV commercials, so the bar is high. You know, it's not like, I can see a library adding that. They might like it. We don't play that game. You know, it's not like, yeah, they might like it. Not our world. They can get, yeah, it's okay all the time. They turn to Taxi to get, wow, that's really friggin' impressive. So there you go. This one is called Porch Party Tuesday. All right. Cast your votes, my friends. +1 if you think that is worthy of a forward, and a -1 if you would have returned it. Right now, Liz is going, slow down, people. While you guys are voting, I'm going to go lower the air conditioning. Actually, isn't that funny? I think of it as lowering the air conditioning because you're making the temperature cooler. Some people think it is, I'm going to turn up the air conditioning, which to me says I'm making it warmer. By the way, for those of you who are curious what those round things are to the right of the turquoise vase, those are tomatoes from Lasco Family Farms. They're still ripening. Hello, Freddie Singer. Hey, Russell, how are you? All right. Let's tabulate. Yeah, those are organic tomatoes. Just because I bought organic fertilizer and planted them in organic dirt. Am I making soup with the tomatoes? I'm like the Bubba Gump of tomatoes now. It's like tomato gumbo, tomato puree, tomatoes on pizza, just anything we can do with them because we're getting about 4 a day. Forrest Lasco. Do I move the taxi in the background every single episode? Frequently. I don't know that it's every single episode. All right, 30 forwards and 19 returns. Let me write that down. 30 to 19. Those of you who voted for a forward are correct. It was in fact forwarded. I noticed that it gained momentum, not speed, but momentum, and it had a couple of nice edit points in it. There you go. So that one was in fact a forward. All right, this next one is called Impelled. Ooh. Yeah, Crash Gates. It's very flangy sounding, not because it really sounds that way. It's because I still have this issue with the Rodecaster coming back into Wirecast and causing this comb filtering effect. I'm sorry, but it's either that or I'm going to have to play it through my speakers into the microphone. So this sounds better. It's just got a little flangy thing. So we will have this worked out before the road rally, I'm sure. Okay, that one again was called Impelled. Cast your votes. +1 if you would forward, -1 if you would return it. And the votes are still coming in. All right, hurry up, you guys. We got a whole show to do here. I just brought up the level a little bit. And the levels do vary from track to track, I noticed earlier when I was checking them out. Yes, the listing was read at the beginning. The short version of the listing is: please submit driving primarily percussive instrumentals and or cues that could work well in the context of a national advertising campaign. Submissions can include everything from but not limited to stomps, claps, slaps, snaps, taps, and bangs. You can include some additional instrumentation, but the majority of your instrumentals should be percussion based. Can we vote by mail? You could, but I probably wouldn't get it until next week's show, if then. Yes, we are only playing submissions that are marked public. And the answer is 40 people would forward it, 20 people would have returned it. And yes, Dan Weber brings up the suggestion, which is always appreciated. Hit the thumbs up. Give us a like, okay? We'd really appreciate that. And if you don't subscribe to the channel, please hit that red subscribe button. You can also hit that little alert bell icon, and that way you'll get alerts every time a show goes live. So there you go. Let us see. Impelled. I'm sorry, what was it? 40 to 20. So 2-to-1 ratio. 40 to 20. And those of you who voted to forward that, you are correct. There you go. All right, let me find another one. All right, this one is called Future Drums. cast your votes. +1 if you would forward that. -1 if you think it's a return. I just brought up the music. Yeah, I just brought up the level of the music, and I'm a little hesitant to bring myself down. Yeah, I'm not going to touch me. Yeah, for anybody who came late, the reason I'm not playing the references is that it'll just mess us up in YouTube land. I gotta say, some of the comments you guys are saying, and I'm sitting here looking at what the screener said. You guys are on your game. Darren Moss says, I'm learning that I don't know enough about this genre to comment one way or the other. And by the way, I'm going to mention this again. I'll probably repeat it several times today, is I am having an issue with the my Rodecaster mixer when stuff is coming off the phone through the mixer back into the Wirecast broadcasting software. There's a little bit of a latency going through the not really sure honestly. All right, so the scores are in, and again with the 2-to-1 ratio, but in reverse, and you guys got it right. 15 of you would have forwarded it, and well, almost 2-to-1, and 32 people would return it. Those of you who voted for the return were 100% right. And many of you, or several of you at least, made comments that lined up with what the screener said. I like the grooves and production, has a nice mix, but it's really repetitive and somewhat overly synthetic. This needs some sections where you break into something different with more of a live sound. Per the client, please try not to rely solely upon loops. This needs less repetition, more distinguished/distinct sections, and more overall developmental arc. Be sure to start more simple and add layers as you progress. It will help more with the build. So you guys were hovering right around that same comment, and you know, I say this every time we do these. I'm proud of you guys. It's like you know what you're doing, you know. Il Rosso says, but a nice cue nonetheless. Yeah, like I'm saying, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's like B+, A-. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. It's respectable. It's good. But I can't say there's nothing wrong with it, but you know what I'm saying. Still very respectable. DW Music says, fine, hire us to screen. L. Harrison says, oh, Dad, we owe it all to you. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, I love the title on this one. It is called Melt Your Face. Let's have a listen. All right. Cast those votes, ladies and gentlemen. +1 if you would forward that. -1 if you would not. It's a great point. What you like isn't always what's needed. I always say it's not necessarily the best thing that gets or the best thing that gets chosen ultimately to be in a show or a film or a commercial. It's the right thing. You could have something that's a B plus or an A minus that's really right against the picture, and you could have something else that's spectacularly good but just doesn't work in the context of the commercial. Dog and Pony, I don't want to divert from our mission on the show today, which is listening to this music. But you should go to forums with an S, forums.taxi.com, and ask the question there. Sign up, become part of the community. It's the most helpful and friendly community for songwriters, artists, and composers, I believe, that you'll find anywhere in the entire World Wide Web. Home phone is ringing. Let me go grab that so I can hang up on them. All right. On that one, we had 6. Well, hold on. 6 forwards and 34 returns. And that one was called Melt Your Face, 634. And once again, you guys are correct. It was not forwarded. Let me see. The screener said, I like the drumming and shuffle feel. It has good energy, but it has too many non-percussion elements and sounds. The groove is good, but this is a little too repetitive, needs shorter, more distinct percussion-driven sections that build more from start to finish. Stays in the same place at the same intensity for too long. So, it's funny how we as consumers, maybe as just recreational listeners, although we're not listening recreationally here, we listen and go, we like it, but if you take a deeper, give it more thought, you think about the applicability of how would an editor find this. Is there a lot of usefulness for an editor in the way it is? So there you go. More cowbell. Okay, Jesse, let me see if I can find one that's got a cowbell in it. All right. This one is called The Chase. Damn. All right, cast your votes. +1 for a forward, -1 if you would return. High school cheerleading championship. Yeah, remember, this is for advertising. Somebody commented, I don't hear tension in it. Somebody else said, I could hear this in a scene. Could you hear it in a TV commercial? Now, you can't say the 100% of TV commercials need something that's not dark. But this is, or not tension inducing. I'm sure there could be some, but the vast majority of TV commercials are, in fact, positive, uplifting, energizing, all good stuff. Martin Gravel has no mercy tonight. Okay. 17 people would forward that one, and 27 would have returned it. 17 to 27. Let me check. And that one was a return. So anybody who said they would return it, you are an A&R genius. See what the screener said about that one. Like the sections and the sounds, has some nice grooves and some good motion. You have 3 nice sections on here, but they're too similar. I would make each one bigger than the next. I think the screener meant than the previous. Add more layers of drums, accent, syncopation, and percussion. This needs to build a lot more intensity from start to finish. Sort of stays in the same place. Starts and ends at the same sounds, the same dynamic level, and the same intensity. Needs more syncopation and developed accent patterns that build throughout. So there you go. I saw some of you mentioning that. It's a common thing, People put together. Sometimes I don't think that people are not capable of getting over the bar. It's they worry so much about, is this a cool pattern, that they stay focused on the pattern and don't think about the mission, which is make it totally desirable and delectable to an editor that's trying to find something cool to go into a commercial. So again, not bad by anybody's standard, just not quite right enough to pitch for TV commercials. All right, this one is called Big Thump. That's funny. I hit the pause button at the end of it, and it pauses the one we're on and goes on to the next one. Maybe I need to pause it sooner. The votes are coming in. Well, sounding like the reference track is okay as long as it's not ripping off the reference track. If it's just, kind of aesthetically in the same ballpark, that's okay. My air conditioning fan shut off. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about the road, really. I don't want to do it sweating. Do the rally in an ice bath. Speaking of Michael catching a cold, I think all of us can say that we've had less colds and less illnesses in general than in other years because we're not going out much. Hang on. What was that one called? That was called Big Thump. That's right. So 13 forwards and 27 returns. The screeners actually forwarded that one. I don't know if I would have or wouldn't have. I felt that it lacked a little development, but I liked the basic premise of it, and it was in the ballpark of the McDonald's one. Maybe that's why the screener forwarded it. I don't know. I don't always agree with the screeners, but so far so good. You guys are actually doing a good job. I will attempt to find you a Bracabella. What? Russell Landwehr was right. Woo! Anyway, so yeah, going back to the cold thing, I don't have a T-shirt update yet. Going back to the cold, I caught one. And I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. And I just felt it like right after I finished an episode of the Quarantini Happy Hour. I think that little thing right there. We go, uh-oh, is that a cold? And so I immediately went up to the bathroom in our bedroom and took out the Zicam Oral Mist spray and did 3 or 4 shots of that, like in the back of my throat and my cheeks, under my tongue. Repeated that again that night before I went to bed. Did it the next day when I got up. Did it the next day like at 2 in the afternoon. And sometime after dinner that night, so in 24 hours, I said to my wife, I can't believe it. The cold is gone. I cannot recommend Zicam, Zicam, highly enough. I don't like the lozenges, the rapid melt lozenges. Those are kind of icky. I much prefer the oral spray, and don't buy the mint flavor because it sucks. Get I think it's cherry flavored, whatever. It's actually kind of tasty in a weird way for medicine. But I've been using it for like at least a dozen years, and I've got to say it's extremely rare. If I catch the cold when it's coming on and use that stuff, on a regular basis, like every 3 or 4 hours throughout the day. Usually a day or two later, that cold is gone. So there you go. Jim Stamper says, I love Zycam. I'm a believer. Yep. Yeah, those of us, Joseph Alonzo, zinc cuts the life out of the cold. I was actually using, in the early days of COVID, every time I would go to the grocery store, I think I told you guys, I would come home and like spray the bottoms of my shoes with Lysol. I would take my clothes and throw them in the washing machine. Would wash my hands like crazy, of course, wipe down everything with wipes before it went in the fridge, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I would spray my mouth with Zycam thinking, okay, if COVID is a virus and Zycam kills the cold virus, maybe it'll kill the COVID. So maybe they've spent all this time, money, developing all these other things. They could have just used Zycam. Anyway, there you go. A little COVID humor. There's something you don't get too often, right? What was the name of that last one? Does anybody remember? That one's called Big Thump. Okay, so now we're moving on to one that is called Push. Let's have a listen. Yay. Okay, that was called Push. And cast your votes. +1 for a forward. And -1 if you would return a Chris Brewer. This live stream is secretly sponsored by Red Bull and Zycam. Not so secret, right? And there's that air conditioner for you, Russell. It's back. +1 if you would forward. -1 if you would not. I love when I see comments fly by and go, I was just thinking that. I mean, I guess, when things are kind of obvious, great minds think alike, maybe? Edmund read Breaking with Convention. Rather than using a plus or a -1, he goes, I'll go for this one. Marion's hearing must be, Marion, I think you've got old folks hearing like me. Sorry, I don't know. You could be 22 for all I know. But the AC isn't intrusive. I listened back to some of the episodes and go, okay, the AC is definitely intrusive. What can I say? This is the best spot for the camera, and the microphone and the air conditioner is about 12 to 13 feet away from me, or the intake for the air conditioner. And the house is like 30-some years old, and it's got like 1980-something air conditioning. Marion's got a headset. Oh, you know what? I'll be right back. I meant to show you guys this the other day in the Quarantini happy hour because people have been asking. Couple people have asked lately which headphones the screeners use. And these are the ones, Audio Technicas. What I can't find is a model number on them anywhere. I've looked and I've looked and I've looked. Oh, here we go. The model number is ATH M20X. ATH M20X. I could move the AC in post with isotope. There you go. Anyway, they're not noise canceling headphones. And frankly, I want to say they were like $30, $35 a piece. We never buy like great headphones for two reasons. Number one, years ago, we bought a bunch of really nice headphones and sadly they were disappearing. They were just walking out of the office. People pop them in their backpack and go, adios, taxi. Yep, ATH M20Xs. Here, let me write this down. So, on that one, which was called Push, we had 14 forwards and 30 returns. And you guys who said you would return it are A&R geniuses. Yes, sir. Anyway, so we buy headphones that sound pretty darn good and look to be fairly sturdy. And I read a lot of reviews, tried some out. These are the ones we picked. But right now, the screeners are all working at home because of the pandemic. So they're not using these unless some of the screeners took them home and they're using them. Hopefully not. I mean, we would let them if they borrowed them and signed them out or something. They are fairly flat in response. I don't remember if I looked at the frequency curve at the time that I got them, but I tried them. Tom tried them. Somebody else tried them. I think our head screener tried them. We all went, way better than the last ones we had. Okay. So that was Push. And now we're going to move on to one called Percussive Impulsions. Sorry to the creator of that one. I cut it off a second or so early. +1 if you would forward that, -1 if you would not. And while you're talking about, or while you're casting your votes, I'll mention that earlier I saw somebody say, did we pick the music randomly? More or less randomly, yeah. I mean, the only instruction I gave to Liz was pick an equal number of forwards and returns. Just don't put anything in there that, if you hear something that's just like horrible, which we rarely get anymore, quite frankly. But if you get something that's going to embarrass somebody, let's not play that. So that's really the instruction. So they're certainly random to me. And the forwards, I just told Liz, just pick the, whatever came up first on the list, take those. And for the returns, just avoid anything that was just like cringy. Frankly, I'm surprised that we didn't get a lot more submissions for this one. Generally speaking, when we run these percussion ones, we'll get 500, 600, 700. I think we had one some months ago where we got just under 1,000. It was like 972 submissions or something ridiculous. And before anybody who's new here asks the question, so how do you pick the best 5 or best 10 or whatever? We don't work on a quota. If it's good, if it's right, we forward it. So in the case of the one where we had that many, or I think there was one where I want to get this right, but I think there was one where we got like 400 submissions and we had 40% of those were getting forwarded. So we reached out to the company and said, look, we've got a crap ton of forwards for you. It's going to be overwhelming when you open the file. Do you want us to break it up into bite-sized chunks and send them to you like, every other day we'll send you out a batch? And they went, yeah, that'd be awesome. So that's what we did. All right, this one, which again was called Percussive Impulsions, had 33 forwards and 12 returns. Everybody who said it was a forward is an A&R genius. All right, this one is called Pound Cake, which is a catchy little title if you think about it for a percussion thing. All right, that one was called Pound Cake, +1 for a forward, -1 for a return. And yes, Marion, that was in fact a whistle. Maybe that was to let the rest of the band know that they were on the last 4 bars. I don't know. Oh, man. What does the top A&R genius win? Those headphones? No, those are my personal ones for home use. Man, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but Deb and I have been binging Umbrella Academy on Netflix. Liz and I were talking about this the other day at the office. The show is quirky. It's a little weird, but you do get into it, and it's a very good show. I think the best part about it is the music. I literally watch every episode with my phone in my hand, and I will sit there and check out every time. I know probably 60 or 70% of the songs that have been used on there, but let's see if I can rattle off some of the, just to give you an idea of the depth. Mel Torme's Coming Home Baby, Crazy by Danielle Andrade, Right Back Where We Started From, Maxine Nightingale, All Die Young by the Smith Westerns, Mad About You by Hoover Phonic, They Call Me a Fool by Damon, Stay With Me, Mary J. Blige, who happens to be one of the actresses in the show, Colors by Beck, and they didn't use the remix that I did for him when I got Logic. Exit music for a film from Radiohead, Le Parc de Plaisir from Francois Parisi, Baphomet's Horn by John 00 Fleming. Anyway, as you can see, a really wide range of stuff. It's actually been 3 different music supervisors, but it's consistently high quality and strange at the same time, in a good way, in a very good way. Okay, so that one was called Pound Cake. Did Liz post a number? There we go. Pound Cake was 2 forwards and 35 returns. So those of you who said you'd return it, A&R geniuses. Yeah, seriously, I've turned to my wife on numerous occasions while the show's playing going, could you imagine, it's like, how would you write a brief? I think it's a show where they're not actually like putting out briefs and saying, we need this kind of song. The supervisors are just thinking, oh, remember that cool song by blah, blah, blah? That would be really quirky and unusual in this scene. It's just awesome state-of-the-art music supervision. Okay, we have, I believe, 2 more to go. Wow, I'm actually going to finish one of these episodes on time. Also, I noticed that Robert Orszowski asked to screen, or did the companies that run listings with Taxi ever say, send me the 10 best? It's extremely rare. Believe it or not, they'll say, send me your best stuff. That we hear quite often, but for them to put a number on it, really, really rare. Sometimes when it's a company that we've just started working with and they kind of want to give us a little test drive, if you can pardon the pun, they'll say, well, just when they don't really understand that we put a listing out and people respond and we screen it, they think we're just another music company. They'll say, send me your 3 best. But that happens like once a year, maybe once every 18 months or so. It's really infrequent. And frankly, we don't put that in the listing because we don't pay attention to it. They just want to say, yeah, send me your 3 best. But look, if we find 7 that are all going to make them go, holy crap, these guys are finding great music, we're going to send them 7. Are we hearing all 10 tracks, 10 tracks in total today? I sure hope so. I guess if I stopped talking and did more playing, we would. I love the title on this next one. Let me get back to that. Okay, this next one is called Bad Will Hunting. I love it. Oh, 12. Cast your votes. A +1 for a forward and a -1, or a -1 as we call them in California, if you would return that sucker. Why does it sound doubled? Because I've got an issue with some latency coming out of the mixer going into the laptop, and frankly, I've tried to solve it and I'm incapable, so I'm having the techie who's going to work with us on the road rally figure it out when he gets here. Either that or, it's not doubled, Ken, it's just you. Hey, Jan Weilage, Catris, and Carrie Harchin. See, I like Russell Landwehr. He gets my humor, or lack thereof. I'm getting hungry, and the other half of that English muffin is sitting over there in the toaster oven. Just call him my name. 10 minutes from now, I will be shoving that in my face. It's not a buffer issue. And I've looked at every possible setting on there. I didn't see a buffer size setting in the Podcaster or the Rodecaster. And it's got this weird, it's a good capability. Yeah, the burnt one. Absolutely, it's burnt, but that's okay. This thing can actually, through the USB coming, the Rodecaster goes into the laptop with the USB, and technically, I can play audio out of the laptop. Simultaneously, it goes back out through the USB into the Rodecaster. So it's got something to do with that. And frankly, I remember before I bought the Rodecaster and I was reading reviews, I stumbled on one where somebody else had this issue and they figured it out. So I'm sure it's a solvable problem. Videotape so you can watch what? Watch me eat my English muffin? Yeah, I love doing these episodes. And frankly, whoa, good numbers on that one. So Bad Will Hunting got 33 or 38 forwards, excuse me, and 6 returns. Are my wires 10 miles long? Nope, they are not. It's actually about 3 feet long. No, we don't. It's not an acoustic panel thing. Anyway, yes, those of you who said you would forward that, I think it's pretty obvious that one was a forward. And see, that's what's cool. Some of the stuff we heard earlier today that wasn't forwardable, some people still thought it was pretty good, and it was pretty good. But it didn't check all the boxes. It's like, yeah, good groove, original idea for the beat. But did the layers build? Did it have forward momentum? Did it have good edit points? Did it have a nice ending on it? Or as we like to call them at Taxi, did it have a happy ending? Why, no, it didn't. It just, boom, ended on the beat, which, okay, it's a button ending at least, but it didn't have that boom, stinger effect. I hope this episode ends on a forward. Well, let's find out. The next one we're going to listen to, appropriately enough, is called Move to the Beat. Where is it? There it is. right, that was called Move to the Beat. And +1 if you would forward, -1 if you would not. Let's see how you do on this one. Hello, Justin Cosgrove. The votes are still coming in. I can actually smell the tomatoes, which are right there. I can smell them all the way over here. Have you ever had, like, I'm growing zucchini and tomatoes. I don't love zucchini. I'll eat it, but I don't love it. But I got to say, man, taking a zucchini right off the plant, washing it off, slicing it down the middle, drizzle a little bit of good olive oil on it, little salt and pepper, throw it on the grill face down, with the white side down. Cook it like that for about 5 to 7 minutes and flip it over, give it a little bit on the green side. Unbelievably tasty. A tomato sandwich with mayo. I've never tried that. But yeah, you can really taste the difference. We were making something the other day. We had 1 tomato left over from a run to the grocery store. And so I took a bite of the grocery store tomato, which looked beautiful, and then a bite of my tomato grown here at Lasco Family Farms, which did not look beautiful. And the one grown here tasted like 4 times better. It was just way better. Darren Moss, it's breakfast time. Didn't you have your breakfast yet over there? Add a bit of crushed garlic. I actually did. Now that you mention it, I brushed, when I put the olive oil on, it was, some of that Christopher Ranch garlic. So I put just like, the tiniest little bit of that in the olive oil and put it on there. It was really good. $15 forwards and 28 returns. Forwards and 28 returns. Well, guess what? That one was actually forwarded. So we had 2 out of 12 today where you guys didn't line up with the screener. There was something I liked about that one. I can't remember what it was. Something about the construction of it. I wasn't in love with the beat. To be honest, I didn't think it was like, wow, that really sounds like a TV commercial. But I did like... I can't remember now. There's something about it. I went, oh, that's a nice touch. And it wasn't like a little trick. It was just something that made it feel like it was good. Yep, that one had 28 returns by you guys. Anyway, so there you go. Look at that. We got 2 minutes left on the big show. I actually did one of these. And Liz, you're no longer a virgin to the episodes where we do forwards and returns. See, not that hard. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you found it educational. The 80s snare threw me off a bit. I think I forwarded because of the second half. I think it got forwarded because whatever it was, you're right. It was like in the last third of it, I went, oh, that made it good. I can't remember what it was now. No Logic news. I am in road rally mode right now and no longer experimenting. Liz says, whew. Anyway, yeah, I haven't even turned on Logic in a couple of days. I didn't touch it over the weekend. I actually worked for 6 hours and 45 minutes on Saturday on Road Rally stuff, and probably about 3.5 to 4 hours last night. So Yeah, I'm in road rally mode. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to decide. I'm going to take a day or two off this week, as I told you last week, from the Quarantini happy hours. I will be doing a Quarantini happy hour tomorrow, though, I promise. I'm waiting to hear from the tech guy. We may have a meeting at the office and at my house to pick the better location for the road rally. So tentatively, that's scheduled for Wednesday. So I may take Wednesday and Friday off, but I'll let you guys know. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Liz, thank you for a great job on this and everything. And it was fun hanging out with you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock on the Quarantini Happy Hour. And make sure to hit the hit that like button. Hit the red subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And hit the little alert bell. I think it's up at the top. And I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock for a Quarantini Happy Hour. If you have any suggestions for tomorrow's Quarantini Happy Hour, please put them in the comment area once this video goes up on YouTube as the archive, which will be any minute now. I could use some ideas for tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. And thanks for joining us on another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live.